Welcome back to Upper 90 for 2025, where the first video of the year will always be my MLS predictions, starting with the Eastern Conference in this video and the Western Conference next time. Let's dive right in at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, where I have DC United in 15th place. Last season, Christian Benteke carried this team to a 10th place finish with a Golden Boot season, but I do not think he will reach 23 goals again this season. Plus, they traded away Teddy Di to Colorado. They traded away Matthias Klick to Atlanta, and there are really zero inspiring incoming signings, so it is going to be a rough year in the nation's capital. In 14th place, I have CF Montreal, where the top scorer, Joseph Martinez, is off to San Jose, adequately replaced, I should say, with Giacomo Vrioni, but their two top assisters, both of their fullbacks, are also out the door. In Montreal, they already have a heavy youth core of players like Bryce Duke, Caden Clark, Nathan Saliba, etc., and they have doubled down on youth this offseason with signings of Jalen Neal, Brandon Craig, Dante Sheely, etc. I hope it works out for all of the individual players' development, but this does not seem like a winning strategy to me in MLS. New England Revolution are in 13th place for me, where there has been tons of turnover this offseason, but I'm not sure it's going to result in much material change. Giacomo Vrioni, as I just mentioned, is out at the club in favor of Leo Campana, and they brought in a few other free agent signings from around the league, but it is Noel Buck recalled from Southampton that is the only major difference, and I feel bad for him because he is going to suffer in this team, but hopefully it will help him learn for the future. The biggest determining factor of Revolution's season will again be Carlos Gil, whether he can get back to a 10-goal, 10-assist type season, or if his age decline has finally hit. In 12th position, I have Toronto FC, where I want Robin Fraser to do well because I view him as a very underrated coach in this league. But I think it is very difficult to do so when one of your star DPs does not want to be there in Lorenzo Insigne. Federico Bernardeschi does want to be there, luckily, and could be a top player in this league, but he cannot do it alone. They do not have a starting number 9. That midfield cannot create, and the defense is old. It is just impossible to feel confident in this team. In 11th place, I have the Philadelphia Union, where I also want their new coach, Bradley Carnell, to do well, and I think he will, but I don't think it'll happen immediately. Jack Elliott is going to be a bigger loss than some people realize, I think. Jack McGlynn, everybody realizes the loss that he is. Of course, they do have Daniel Gazdag, who is basically a guaranteed 15 goals. Michael Ure, who gives you another 10. Ty Bariabo probably does the same. So there are goals in this team, and there is the excitement of 15-year-old Kevin Sullivan. So I tried to find a reason to put this team higher, but I'm just not sure I can see how this team got better in the offseason. Really only worse. In 10th place, just missing out on the playoffs, I have the Chicago Fire, where Greg Berhalter is back in MLS. And this is admittedly a hard one to predict with Berhalter in charge, but I'm excited to see how it will unfold. Jonathan Bamba was their big offseason signing from La Liga. He should help Hugo Kuipers in the attack, who found his shooting boots towards the end of last season. Jack Elliott, as I mentioned, the notable incoming from Philadelphia, and reportedly they went after Neymar in the offseason. Obviously, that did not come to fruition, but I do like the ambition of that on paper, but just within the team, I don't see enough talent to make playoffs. However, let's see if Greg Berhalter can make his team more than the sum of their parts. Sneaking into the playoffs, I have Nashville SC, and I hope that this battle plays out even somewhat as I predicted, because imagine how fun it would be to see Greg Berhalter and BJ Callahan battling it out for that last playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. Ultimately, I did go for Nashville because I think they are defensively more reliable season over season. Plus, I would probably take Hani Mukhtar and Sam Surridge over Hugo Kuipers and Jonathan Bamba. Oh yeah, and they just signed the reigning MLS Cup MVP. Into 8th place, I have New York City FC, where the roster has a ton of talent, but it did not click last season despite them getting a 6th place finish. Perhaps that should lead me to put them higher up in the table, but I have no confidence that it will click again in 2025. New head coach Pascal Janssen has that job ahead of him. But their only significant business this offseason has been outgoings. Christian McFarland to Man City, Jovan Mijatovic out on loan. Also, the biggest outgoing was James Sands, also out on loan. That'll be a big loss, but on talent alone, they should still be able to make the wild card at least. And if Janssen gets it to click, it could be much higher for New York City. Orlando City SC I have in 7th place because Facundo Torres is gone, and I am not sure Marco Pasalic can fill his shoes. Luis Muriel was not remotely as good as I expected he would be last season. Duncan Maguire struggled with injuries last season, and he is already out to begin the season this year after having shoulder surgery. I do like the Edward Atuesta signing, though, and Oscar Pareja knows how to get it done in this league, so I don't think that they will have to play a wild card match, just barely. Into 6th place, I have the New York Red Bulls, where John Tolkien is a considerable loss, but when Emil Forsberg is on the pitch, this team is very, very good, as evidenced by Forsberg being a better finish away from sending MLS Cup to a penalty shootout. And now he has another big name DP coming from the Bundesliga to join him. Eric Choupo-Moting scored 17 goals in 30 games for Bayern Munich 2 years ago. He is super talented with tons of experience, but of course he is 35 years old now. I also correctly predicted Lewis Morgan as the comeback player of the year last season, so I feel confident in saying that he will continue that form again this season. In 5th place, I have the Columbus Crew, where the Cucho drop-off will be real. Hopefully, they will reinvest that money, but there is nothing as of yet of this video, and I doubt whenever they do spend that money, whoever they will get will be as productive as Cucho. Christian Ramirez is also off to LA Galaxy, leaving Diego Rossi basically alone in that attack. His job becomes a lot harder with all the defensive focus on him rather than on Cucho. Dylan Shambost has not proven quite yet that he is that high level, though I'm sure Columbus fans will be hoping that he does prove that this season. Of course, I do trust Nancy Ball, which is why they are 5th place, but without knowing if or on who they spend that Cucho money, they cannot be higher than that. In 4th place, I have Charlotte FC, where Karol Swiderski is gone, replaced by Wilfried Zaha, and what an insane upgrade that is. But really, I'm just bullish about Charlotte FC across the board. I am bullish on manager Dean Smith. I am bullish on striker Patrick Agyemang. I am bullish on captain Ashley Westwood. I am bullish on center back Adilson Malanda. I think Eric Williamson is a really strong pickup. Hopefully Pep Biel will have a step forward in this next season, and I know they will be one of the best defensive teams in MLS, not only with Dean Smith in charge, but with the defending goalkeeper of the year, Christian Kalina. So if Zaha plays like Crystal Palace Zaha, and you can get steps forward from Biel and Agyemang, then nobody in their right mind will want to play this Charlotte team. In 3rd place, I have the team with the biggest offseason of any, Atlanta United. Miguel Almiron is back after leading them to the 2018 MLS Cup alongside Joseph Martinez. They also paid an MLS record transfer fee of $22 million to Middlesbrough for Emmanuel Latellath. And so in a way, they have 4 DPs, where they brought in Mateusz Klich, who remains a DP on the books of DC United instead of Atlanta as part of the trade that brought him to Atlanta, which is really a truly ridiculous deal in my opinion, since DC only got a super draft pick and a conditional $50,000 in GAM if Atlanta is to re-sign Klich. Really no idea what DC was thinking in that deal. And I still haven't mentioned Saba Lobjanidze. All of that is under the 2021 MLS Cup winning head coach, Ronny Deila, who is back in the league with the 5 stripes this time. His high-flying, up-tempo style just feels like it's going to be the perfect fit in Atlanta with Miggy and everything. It just feels right in Atlanta. 3rd place. But 2nd place is FC Cincinnati for me, where, of course, Luciano Acosta is gone, but they immediately replaced him with Evander, who, in my opinion, is not a big drop-off, if any at all. He was a huge MVP candidate last season. Cincinnati also briefly broke the MLS transfer record with Kevin Danke for $16 million. Of course, that was quickly broken by Atlanta. Danke is still a question mark, as we've seen players who tear up the Belgian league come into MLS and not see quite the same success. Still, though, I do trust Chris Albright, even though this is the Bupenza replacement. After all, though, they finished third in the East last season with Kevin Kelsey as their main striker, so only can really be an improvement from there, I think. And of course, they will remain a top defensive team in the league where they have invested heavily over the past few years. I just do not see holes in this team, but they are not going to finish top of the East, who once again will be Inter Miami, the defending Supporters Shield champions from last season, accruing an MLS record 74-point total. And I will not be betting against Lionel Messi again after thinking last year that the outside issues might impact them too much. Turns out Luis Suarez's knees don't seem to be a problem. Turns out they can easily manage multiple competitions. And MLS veteran signings like Fafa Pico only give me more confidence that they are prepared for another Supporters Shield run. Plus, I know that if they do end up needing more players in the summer window, I know that they will go and spend. Javier Mascherano will be the interesting piece of this puzzle with his first club coaching job, but I believe he will be successful as many defensive midfielder coaches are throughout the world, from Pep Guardiola to Xabi Alonso. Javier Mascherano is next. I thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it this far, please drop a like and a subscription. I will see you next time for the Western Conference.